South Park has roasted a ton of celebrities, but no one got it worse than Kanye West. For 14 years, they've dragged him across 3 episodes, each way worse than the last, and yes, Kanye responded exactly how you'd expect. Some of these moments are hilarious and some get a little dark, but all of them are really fun to watch. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how they roasted Kanye, cover the story of each episode, the bigger messages, and how he reacted. I'll also give each episode a rating at the end. So without further ado, let's get into every time South Park destroyed Kanye West. Do you like fish sticks?
Yes.
So you like putting fish sticks in your mouth?
Yes.
What are you, a gay fish?
What?
This is the joke that started the entire South Park Kanye kerfuffle. And Kanye isn't even supposed to be the main part of this episode, and was just added in later. But having him be the butt of the joke just makes the entire thing better. The episode begins with Cartman going over to Jimmy's house where Jimmy is coming up with jokes. Cartman just sits on the couch eating potato chips while Jimmy creates the funniest joke of the generation. Cartman and Jimmy go around school telling the joke to everyone, and soon it's a really big deal and is even showed on a ton of talk shows like Jimmy Kimmel.
Do you like fish sticks?
Yes!
Huh. What are you, gay fish?
Eventually, while Kanye is in an interview, someone uses it on him, and of course, he's the only person in the entire world who doesn't get the joke.
You're a gay fish. All right, that does it. I'm gonna kick you in my ass.
He even makes a public statement about how he's not gay and not a fish just because he doesn't have gills, and he even has a doctor come in and say, "Oh, you don't have gills," just to prove his point. But someone just makes the joke again, everyone laughs, and he keeps raging.
Because I am a genius, I have ascertained that fish have gills. Doctor, do I have gills?
He does not have gills.
Back at school, Cartman takes credit for the joke and says he's gonna go patent it so that he and Jimmy can make money. Kyle tells Jimmy not to give in and tells him not to give any of the credit or money to Cartman, while Craig says the opposite and tells Jimmy just to take the 50% and forget about it because he's not gonna win.
Just give him half.
But none of that matters because a guy called Carlos Mencia takes credit for the joke on national television, which does not turn out well for him in the end. Kanye hosts a concert, but everyone is just calling him the gay fish, and he storms off stage trying to figure out the joke. But it just doesn't make any sense, which is weird because
I don't need anyone telling me play on words. I'm a lyrical wordsmith, genius.
so he decides to find the person who made the joke, which he thinks is Carlos Mencia. Carlos is then tortured and is just begging for Kanye to get it.
Why do people think I'm a gay fish?
Cause you like fish sticks, man. Come on, man. Don't you get it? Please, just get it, man.
But Kanye just can't understand the joke and he unalives Mencia. Cartman and Jimmy, who don't know that someone was just unalived for claiming to be the owner of the joke, go on the Ellen Show and talk about how they came up with the joke. But as expected, Cartman is super conceited and talks about how great of a person he is because he's working with a disabled person and a bunch of bull like that. Kanye sees their interview and ties them to chairs as well. But even in a time of potential death, Cartman now claims that he made the entire joke and Jimmy had no part. Personally, I was fully expecting him to just be like, "Oh, Jimmy made the joke, I'm innocent." But now Cartman gives a heartfelt speech about how Jimmy is narcissistic and playing mind games with himself to make him think that he's great. This speech actually hits Kanye really hard, and he sees that everyone is just trying to help him and he must accept his new identity as a gay fish. He still does not get the joke and puts on this really gay outfit and jumps into the water, and he just becomes a gay fish. It's accompanied by this really funny song, and here's a little clip of that section.
Making love to other gay fish. All those lonely nights at the grocery store in the frozen fish aisle, feeling like a whore, cause I wasn't being true, even though everyone said that I had to make a switch. Gay fish. Now I know that I'm a gay fish. Gay fish.
In total, I found this episode pretty amusing, but what is just as interesting, if not more interesting than the episode itself, is Kanye's response to fish sticks. Right after the episode aired, he made a small blog post about it, which isn't that interesting, so I'll put it up on the screen and you can pause it if you want to read it. He also mentioned South Park in his later songs, and in Gorgeous, a song that was released in the next year, 2010, he included this line, "Choke a South Park writer with a fish stick." And he also mentioned South Park had them all laughing in a song that he and Jay-Z did a year after that. The fact that an episode of the show got him to make an entire post and include South Park in 3 songs is kind of insane if you think about it. And you notice how I said 3 songs, there's also one more instance of him using it in 2020 in a song called Life of the Party. This isn't in the final version, but it is in the original version. It says, South Park had jokes about fish sticks. Till this day, the whole team can kiss this. And you know what the rest part is. But that's a wrap on the first instance of South Park making fun of Kanye, and now let's get into my personal favorite time they did it. This is definitely my favorite Kanye episode, but the interesting part is that Kanye is like a side plot in this one. In Fish Sticks, he was a side plot but was overpowering, but in The Hobbit, he was kind of on even ground, and both storylines mattered. So basically, this episode is about Kim Kardashian in Photoshop, and it begins with the cheer team reciting their names, but Lisa Berger is bad at it because she has no self-confidence because she's ugly and fat. She asks out Butters, but he rejects her in the most polite and yet rude way possible.
Oh, like a date? Oh, no thanks, Lisa. I really appreciate the offer, but you're too fat for me.
Okay, thanks.
See you, Lisa.
Wendy's really pissed at Butters and says that Kim Kardashian is a short little hobbit who photoshops all her pictures because Butters said that he wants a girlfriend like Kim Kardashian who's just perfect.
But I have a different standard when it comes to my women. I want a woman who takes care of herself and knows how to look good, who's got perfect skin and no splotches on her legs and perfect everything.
This statement results in two things. First, she's called to the counselor's office because of her being a jealous hater. Second, Kanye hears about it and comes to the school, still in his gay fish costume, by the way, and explains why Kim is not a hobbit, but each time he gives a reason, he has to call Kim because it just keeps sounding like she's just more and more of a hobbit. These scenes are what make the episode so funny to me, and here's one of them.
Yes, Kim is heavier than most of her pictures show her to be. Yes, she gets her hair lasered off her body. Yes, she has a friend named Gandalf who happens to be a wizard. I'm sorry, excuse me a minute.
So now Wendy shows Butters how easy it is to Photoshop and gives an example with Lisa, making her beautiful in Photoshop. But now everyone in the school thinks she's actually super hot because of the picture and doesn't really care in real life she's ugly. All the girls now use Photoshop and everyone thinks that they are all hot, but everyone except Wendy. Stan asks Wendy to Photoshop her photos so that he can brag about having a beautiful girlfriend, which was not the right move because Wendy gets really, really mad.
People should be okay with the way they look. I have pimples on my forehead. My bottom teeth are crooked. So what? You have short legs.
I do?
Yeah.
But back to the Kanye storyline, he goes to a live event with a big audience and steals the mic from Pope Francis to start talking, which is mimicking the time where he did the exact same thing to Taylor Swift in real life. But anyway, he does a similar thing as earlier, proving that Kim is not a hobbit, but in doing so, proving that she is a hobbit.
Kim is not even in that movie. That movie is just loosely based on her television show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which is a show about short, loud little people living in a fantasy world. Hold up.
There's also a really funny music video, which is one of the best segments of the episode and is supposed to parody another of his real music videos, the Bound 2 video, which I actually think is a pretty good song, but the music video is so random and looks incredibly low budget, which is why South Park made fun of it.
My girl ain't no hobbit. Please God tell me I'm not engaged to no hobbit.
This is the last section, so bear with me. But Wendy goes on the news and talks about how Photoshop should be banned or at least be labeled as what it is, fake. The crowd goes wild and immediately the reforms go into effect. Yeah, no, that does not happen, but instead she's called Jelly and a hater like usual. Kanye sneaks into her bedroom at night. We're just gonna ignore how weird that is. But anyway, he reads her a story that basically says she's a big jelly monster, but he still loves Kim. The final scene of the episode is Wendy photoshopping her photo and sending it out to everyone, which was truly quite sad because Wendy's such a nice and loved character, and seeing her fail is truly heartbreaking. Also heartbreaking is that Kanye did not publicly respond to this episode, and neither did Kim. If they did, let me know in the comments because I couldn't find one, but I'm not perfect. Oh, and by the way, I was kidding about that thing earlier. I wasn't sad at all. I hate Wendy. To be honest, the third episode where they ridicule Kanye, Cupid, Ye, is not as funny as the other two, but in terms of actually making fun of Kanye, in some ways, it's better. The episode starts with Kyle and Token making the best TikToks on the platform.
What the f*** is this?
But Cartman doesn't stand for it and tries to make Tolkien hate Kyle by saying he runs Hollywood. But instead of splitting up Kyle and Tolkien, he just ends up making everyone else in the school think that Kyle runs Hollywood, which results in a bunch of kids giving him movie ideas and stuff like that. Jimmy even gives him his headshot.
Kids are saying that, I don't know, that, you run Hollywood. What? I told Scott that that's just people being dumb and he shouldn't listen to stuff like that. But Scott and I do have this sweet movie idea about a dude who has guns for hands, and we have the first 20 pages written, so...
But then we meet Cupid Me again, but instead of being all nice, cheery, and wanting love, he's now rebranded to being Kanye West. Total shocker considering the title of this video is about South Park destroying Kanye. But Cupid Yee is the reason that Cartman is acting more anti-Semitic than usual, and Yee even gets Cartman to go on an interview in a very familiar attire and says some pretty out-of-pocket stuff, mimicking Kanye West's appearance on InfoWars in real life. One thing that has always confused me is the relationship between Cartman and Cupid Me. Sometimes it seems like he controls Cartman, and sometimes it feels like Cartman is just on its own and Cupid Me is just a figment of Cartman's imagination, but then again, sometimes it seems like Cupid Me is a fully different being acting of its own will. But anyways, Cartman, who's known for hating Jews and even dressing as a certain famous guy with a tiny mustache, thinks that Yee is going too far and decides to fix it. That's how you know that Kanye went too far, when Eric Cartman is against him.
Yeah, so Hitler actually wasn't a bad guy. Yes, whoa, Cupid Me, that's going a bit too far. He's just trying to be shocking.
Cartman warns Stan about Cupid Yee and how they have to stop him in getting his meds. At school, Stan goes to Tolkien and apologizes for being jealous of their TikToks. As that is happening, Cupid Yee is going crazy, shooting hate arrows at everyone, turning them all anti-Semitic. All the new anti-Semitic kids corner Kyle and get mad at him for some pretty funny reasons.
A Lord of the Rings prequel? What were you thinking? How many more superheroes do you think we need?
Mario Brothers, Cal? You seriously can't do better than Mario Brothers?
But then Stan and Tolkien show up to protect Kyle. Cartman also appears and force-feeds Yee his meds, turning him back into Cupid Me.
Cupid Yee! Time to take your meds. No, those are how people control me!
Cupid Me then shoots everyone with love arrows, reversing the effects of the previous arrows. Kyle goes on TV and explains how and why Jews seem like they're controlling Hollywood, and the crowd loves it so much they say that he should run Hollywood, completely missing the point of Kyle's speech. I didn't really love this episode, and I don't think it's nearly as good as the others, but it does have some pretty interesting insights. It's basically saying that Kanye's actions are so wrong that even South Park's most messed up character had to intervene. There's also the deeper message of Cupid Yee shooting arrows, which shows that people with the wrong ideas spread them by telling everyone possible, and even if the most rational people think through it and realize he's full of it, some dull-brained sheep will just follow everything he says like it's gospel. The best way to reduce the reach of people like that is to ignore them, and Kyle said it best.
I'm not even going to justify that with a response, because repeating a derogatory slur, even for the purpose of refuting it, can make stupid people think it's valid.
Was it funny? Not really. The episode focused more on commentary than comedy, which I didn't personally like, which is why I would rate it low on my scale, but that's a perfect segue, so now let's get into rating. So now let's talk about how I would rate each of these episodes. Against each other, I definitely think that Hobbit is the best because of how Kanye is trying to prove that Kim is not a Hobbit and does the other, which produce some of the funniest scenes in South Park. This is followed by Fish Sticks because it's just a classic and still makes me laugh to this day. But Cupid Yee is interesting, but I just prefer funny South Park to insightful South Park, and a good blend is perfect, but Cupid Yee leans too far onto the social insights category to be super highly rated. Rewatching Hobbit, I think it's one of my top episodes, so I think I would rate it like a 9.2 to a 9.4. Fish Sticks is an 8.8, and Cupid Yee is somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8. Most of you probably won't agree with me on this one because according to IMDb, the ranking is Fish Sticks the highest, then Cupid Yee, then Hobbit, but it's my rating in my opinion, so just take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, I hope I provided an entertaining video and covered at least most of the information regarding South Park versus Kanye, but I hope that you guys enjoyed, and please like and subscribe because I almost have no audience and it would really help a ton if you guys could do that. I try to post twice a week or at least once a week, so stay tuned for those, but I'll see you in the next one.
That's all, folks.
Making love to other gay fish. All those lonely nights at the grocery store, in the frozen fish aisle, feeling like a whore. Cause I wasn't being true, even though everyone said that I had to make a switch. Gay fish. Now I know that I'm a gay fish. Gay fish.